guys, welcome to Scott Family Homestead. Today I'm going to walk you through our barn project that we have coming up. We are extremely lucky to have an extended fall this year so I can get a little bit more work done. We've got a lot of problems with our barn right now. I'm going to show you, this is an old dairy barn. We're talking late 1800s. Fieldstone basement, very, very cool, but very much in need of repairs. So we started working on this a year ago. I do have a video that I will link in the description that kind of shows when we started tackling this project. I didn't get to a lot of it, mostly grading issues, gutter issues, window issues. So I'm going to show you all of that today and the projects that we're starting and kind of what materials we're using and what we're doing for that. But first, I want to say a huge thank you to every single one of you that watched my last video. So if you missed it, we were talking a little bit about my husband's job loss, and there were so many good comments and suggestions, so much support. But if you are looking to adjust your budget, especially as a lot of things are changing for a lot of people, go to the comment section of that video. It is full of good ideas. We actually used quite a few ourselves, so I really do appreciate the advice that you guys gave us. We have been able to cut some expenses. I'm really excited about that. So thank you for your suggestions. And if you are looking for some good budgeting advice, good suggestions, go check out that video. I also want to say thank you to all of our local customers who have placed orders. We had a great week of selling meat. All of our chickens are in stock. We took chickens to the butcher this week, as well as a couple of turkeys. So we do have fully stocked whole chickens, a few turkeys left. If you're interested, make sure you get in touch with us. We also have a limited amount of beef. We're getting pretty low on beef, but there is a little bit left. And we do have quite a bit of pork yet, as well as pork shares available coming up. So thank you to all of our customers. The farm stand is stocked every weekend until we start getting this freezing weather, which it looks like maybe next week. But we'll see how the high tunnel handles all of that. But thank you so much for all of the support, all of the purchases. It has made a huge difference in our lives, and we appreciate all of you so very much. Even if it's a view, a like, a comment, it all helps us. So thank you so much. All right, let's talk about our barn a little bit. Our main issue here is that we have water leaking in our barn down into the basement pretty excessively anytime that it rains, and especially snow melt. So as you can see, we have a little bit of a slope near the fence, but as we come over here, we've got a low spot here and water has just been running in. So last year we started fixing up the inside. We started redoing all the mortar. I rebuilt the wall partially on the inside, and our lime mortar mix seems to be working really well. But the problem is there's still just too much pooling of water. We didn't get this graded last year. And the gutter is a problem up above. It's clogged. A couple of the braces are broken. So water pours down over by this window here, and then it just runs right into the basement of the barn. Now at this point, the basement of the barn has almost no mortar left between the stones. If we don't do something about it soon, we're not going to have a wall left here. And all of this is underground. So it's really important that we address that soon. So I came through a couple weeks ago. We got this patched up through here. It looks like it's drying really well. We rebuilt a little bit of that. And now we're ready to grade this and put some dirt against it. So my husband came through here and tilled this up with his tractor so that we can move some of this dirt around. We're going to add some dirt to it. So the plan over here is to regrade it, get it highest by the driveway here, because there's like a driveway that goes to the door, and slope it down and out and slope it away from the barn. The plan is then to put a pond liner down, and then we're going to put rock on top of that. Now I don't have the budget for drain tile. We did talk about doing a channel down here, headed out towards the pasture of drain tile. But just the way that you have to do that with washed gravel and then the drain tile itself and then covering it with the filter paper, I don't have the budget for that right now. So that could be done later because we're going to have our tarp kind of come out and end there. We could trench that later if we find out that we're needing that. But the highest priorities right now is regrading this and getting a waterproof tarp down so that once it starts snowing, we don't have water running back up to the barn. Step one of this project was clearing out all the brush here. We had a lot of brush against the barn. On this side, you can see it was getting very green. We had a lot of plant matter in here. Next is repairing stonework, anywhere we have any major issues, and repairing windows. So I'm going to show you the window issues really quick, and we'll talk about that. This window's just set in here. So that goes right into the bottom of the barn.
I'm gonna jump.
So the window itself is okay. Could use some reglazing. This here is the problem. So this is leaking a lot of water. Need to get that sealed up, and then a new wooden frame around this to hold the window in. And this one's a little bit more of an issue. The window is broken out. It's been boarded up for a long time. A little bit less of a water issue down there. But we're gonna have to replace at least the panes of glass, if not the entire window. Our next major problem is these gutters. They are starting to break away. This started with some snow coming off of the roof, kind of sagged it and was breaking it, but now we've got these pigeons. Oh my gosh, we have so many pigeons. And they sit in here and it's causing a lot of problem. It's causing more of those supports to snap. So we have to deal with that, get everything reconnected, and possibly get rid of some pigeons. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get some work done on this barn. We're gonna try to get the mortaring done on the outside. That's gonna have to dry for a little while. Ideally, it would have a lot longer than what we have right now, but I want it to at least dry on the surface before we put soil up against it. But we can start in some of these areas, putting some dirt in here, getting a little bit of the grading taken care of while we wait for that window to dry up. We're gonna do some other repairs as much as we can on the front of this barn. As much as I would like to work a ton on the mortar in the basement, it is gonna start getting cool. So I've got a very limited amount of time to do that. I can't do it once it's freezing in there. So we're gonna go ahead and get as much done as we can. But I'm gonna prioritize fixing the outside of the barn so that the water isn't running through there. And then it's gonna take a couple of years. We will start working bit by bit on that wall down there, because it's a significant amount of work to do that. I do not have the budget to hire anybody, but I also have not found anybody who does this type of work that you can just hire and have come out and do it quickly. We're gonna do what we can with the time that we have and hope that it's enough before winter. So we're gonna take care of this window. This is probably a top priority. It's right here by the milk house, and it's definitely leaking. I've got some video of that from this winter when snow melt was happening. But if we just start putting more dirt against this barn and don't deal with these gaps between the rocks, it's not going to help us at all. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to remove this piece of wood. We're going to fix all of the stonework underneath. I'm going to dig down just a little bit, get that really solidified up. We're going to put a new board in there. I'm going to reuse this window, but we're going to go ahead and clean it up. It's not letting a whole lot of light in, as it was. It was actually covered in this plastic, so we got to get rid of all that. The bottom of this barn is going to have so much more light when we fix all 3 of these windows, so I'm really excited for that. But this one's my priority. I got to fix this one before we can do any of the regrading. So from here, you can kind of see it goes uphill quite a bit to that driveway. So what's happening right now is everything runs down this way, and then it all leaks in under this window. The water just has nowhere else to go, because then you get to this solid block milk house, which is also starting to leak a bit, but we can't quite figure out where. So I have this pre-mixed. In some areas you can buy a pre-mixed mortar like this, a lime mortar, but we do not have that in our area, so we had to mix it ourselves. I don't want to use Quikrete for this because I want there to be some expansion contraction ability. So we're going with the old school lime mixture like they would have used way back when they originally made this barn. So this is the mixture that we found really works well for us. It is 1 part lime and 2.5 parts masonry sand. I mixed a whole bunch up all at once, and we've been using this. We did some repairs on our house. We've worked down here in the barn on it, and now I've done some of the outside work with this, and it seems to be holding up pretty good in each of those spaces. And so we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna fill a bucket with this. We're about due for a new mixture, but we're just going to do very small batches of this at a time. I'm going to scoop some of this into this bucket. We're going to add a little bit of water. We're going to patch under that window, and then we'll be ready to get a new board in there, put the window back in. We should be good to go. And this is the barn underneath that window, so you can kind of see it's starting to kind of break apart, but this isn't nearly as bad as the other side. I think with a little bit of gutter work and fixing this window, this side will be just fine for many years to come. So some of these stones are just loose in here. I'm going to take these out. We're going to put some mortar in there and rebuild it back up. For now, I'm going to clear all this out. Get as much of the dirt and broken down mortar out of there. I'm going to dig down just a little bit here. I want this whole thing to be nice and sturdy before we start messing with it. So I'm going to go ahead, rebuild what we can. So I also have my mortar brush. This is just an old paintbrush. Ideally, you'll get all of the dusty and broken down mortar chipped out and chiseled away before you rebuild, because your mortar will stick better to the rocks than it will to old mortar. But for us, we're just going to clear everything out that we can, start as fresh as possible. All right, we got this all kind of cleared out. It was actually in worse shape than I thought, so I'm glad we're doing this. I got to get the rest of that board out of there. And then I'll be able to see everything. I've got my mortar mixed up. You kind of have to play around with it to just get the right consistency. This is the consistency that I like. I keep it a little bit more wet, especially with something flat like this. When you're putting it on a wall, having it thicker is nicer. But this kind of fills in all the little gaps if it has a little liquid to it. Now the lime mixture does best if you can keep it moist for a while. So in situations like this, where it's in like a damp basement, or we're going to be putting dirt against this eventually in a little bit wetter environment, then it's going to be okay. But you don't want this to dry suddenly and quickly. It will start to crack. You have to keep some moisture on it. So some people will hang plastic. If you're doing it on the outside of a building like this and it's not low to the ground, you could hang plastic on it. Anything to just kind of try to keep some of that moisture in so that this can dry up slowly over time. Now I'm just going to let this dry a bit, and then we're going to end up putting the soil up against it. So I'm not super worried about it in this situation, but we definitely needed some work in here. So I'm really happy we decided to do this before we started regrading. I found a bunch of plastic bags shoved in down here, so I think they were trying to stop the water with that or something. I don't know. Kind of weird that they were like putting stuff in there, insulation and plastic bags, because I don't know how much that would really do to stop the water, but we dug all of that out. I'm going to get this board out of here, and then we'll start rebuilding this. We'll get a new board put in there that can support this window, and then we'll wait a little while before we start messing with all of the soil on this side of the barn.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I know how to swing a hammer, but I'm really good at enterprise architecture. You should hire me so I don't have to do this stuff all the time.
I'm sorry for making you be a farmer today.
All good.
Oh, this is like, Ryan, this is goners.
Stop on your right side. It looks like separate boards, right? Or was that attached?
No, that's just rounded out. But that, oh my gosh, look at the mortar back there. Can you replace that board too then? Oh gosh, that whole wall's falling apart.
Now it seems like I'm making things worse, but I need to know that I am.
Alright, we're gonna have to go back in there. We don't have boards that thickness though. That's like old school, like true inch
Nice.
Ryan, what am I gonna do with this? Okay, so our plan was just to replace this board down here, get all of this mortar redone, put a fresh board in here, put the window back in. But of course, the piece of wood that was over here was disintegrating, so we took that out, but now the whole wall inside there, the mortar is gone. All the stones are falling out. So we're gonna rebuild this wall first. Oh, this just became a much bigger project. Gonna rebuild that, put a new piece of wood here, rebuild the bottom, put a piece of wood there. I'm sure this one's close to rotting out too, but you can tell that's got a problem up there.
Wouldn't it just be easier to put a door here? Just dig this out, a couple steps down. That feels easier.
Stairway.
Stairway.
You can tell that they redid this at one point in time. It's very flat and straight, and it's sturdy, so the wood can go up against that, but then it just fell apart back there, which I'm sure when they redid this, they couldn't get to that. So we're going to go ahead and finish getting all this old sand out of here, this old mortar. Rebuild that interior part of that wall. And then we'll get to the rest of the window. It's always like this. It's like every project we start, we open it up, and it's...
Like, this will be a quick one to do between school events.
Yeah. It's okay. Okay, so I put this in and it is extra soupy. We are going to just let this sit and dry for a couple of days before we come back and frame out this window. I think I've decided we're going to put expanding foam between this mortar and our piece of wood. I can't build up the mortar enough to go up to the wood, and I don't really want the wood just sitting in the mortar. So we got a nice, smooth, flat area here, especially because it's really wet. It's kind of leveling itself out. We're just going to leave this to dry. I did do this wall over here, and that is built back up really nicely. So we're just going to leave this be for a little bit. We're going to come back in a couple of days and put the window in, and then at that point we can kind of start to do the grading on this side of the barn. Now this is the area that we patched previously. This is holding up really good, and there's not going to be a lot of opportunity for water to seep through here. So this side of the barn we can start actually filling in. We're going to bring a bunch of compost and topsoil in here, start building this up. We're going to keep the soil from touching the siding, the wood, but we're going to build it up. It will touch this spot that we put all this mortar in, and then we'll go ahead and put that tarp down. So this is a huge project with a lot more to come. We're going to have so much more to come on this project, so make sure you're following along and subscribed. Also on Instagram, I do daily stories on Instagram and Facebook, and you can keep up with all of our projects. I was hoping to get a great deal of this project done today, but it turns out this is going to be a multi-part project. But I feel good about the progress that we made, just because every time you open something up that's this old, it does end up being a bigger project than you expected. So we're taking care of it bit by bit. We'll just keep working away at it. Hopefully we can get a lot of this done before the weather turns on us. We'll just keep working at it and see how much we can get done. Thank you so much for watching today. If you guys want to see more about this barn and the interior of it, I do have a barn tour. That's another one that I will link below. I think I have a playlist that's all barn related. So you can kind of see the tour from about a year ago. We have done a lot of cleanup and work on it since then. It's been really exciting to kind of bring this back to life, use it for our animals. And so if you're interested in that, I will link all of that below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.